Okay, everybody's ready. I'm going to call the City of Greendale Redevelopment Commission regular meeting to order for July 15th at 6 o'clock. The first thing we have is our annual presentation of the taxing units based on the 2024 summary. And with that, Mike, I'll turn that over to you.
All right. There's no public here, but I'll run through this very quickly. This is an annual requirement for redevelopment commissions across Indiana. We sent a notice to all the taxing units about this presentation tonight. Here's a slide about why we're doing this. Here's a slide about your redevelopment commission members, your legal services, financial services provider, and economic development services provider. You hold your meetings on the third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. typically, unless noted otherwise. There's a general model of tax increment finance mechanics. These are the impacted entities and taxing units in the allocation areas. City of Greendale, Dearborn County, Lawrenceburg Township, Lawrenceburg Community School Corporation, Lawrenceburg Public Library District, and Dearborn County Solid Waste Management District. This is a map of your economic development and allocation areas from the north end along 50th State Line Road, and in the middle area of it, in the US 50 I-275 intersection, Bellevue area, and then kind of the southern end along US 50 down to Rudolph Way, and also picking up GP in areas along Brown Street, Shenley Place, Probasco. This is a general outline of the strategies that have been laid out in the establishing documents for the TIF districts: infrastructure investments, marketing, incentives, and so on. This is taken from your 2024 annual report, which was produced by London Woody Group and provided to you earlier this year. Just outlines all the various allocation areas that Greendale Redevelopment Commission has. Their initial year of setup and the final year of payment for each of those.
Mike, excuse me. On that slide there, is there any correlation linking that slide to the map that you just showed as far as where is Interstate 275 #1 allocation area on that map? It says that, you know, that's our first one back in 2000 here. So how will the taxing units know?
I didn't have time to map it out.
So is that on that big map that we had
in
made
your establishing
last year?
documents for that allocation area, it is mapped.
It is mapped, okay.
But the map that I pulled off for this presentation, that's just the TIF district layer from
TIF'd.
Dearborn County's Beacon GIS online map tool.
Okay.
And it only highlights the economic development area and not necessarily the allocation
Which one
areas.
was when?
Right.
Okay, all right. But that's on that big map that we have, right? Okay, thank you.
I believe so, Bill.
Yeah, I should probably get a copy of that and put that in this next year.
Yes, it is on there.
Financial summary for the year ending 2023. Projected cash flow and coverage. This is again in the annual report that was produced by London Woody Group. Another page from the London Woody Group, your projected tax collections for 23, pay 24, and how those turned out. And these are projected tax collections for 24, pay 25. We'll know these at the end of this year. And then the next dozen pages or so are just the list of parcels, along with their base assessed value and increment assessed value throughout each of your allocation areas. So,
This actually helps.
and there's about 12 slides, a few hundred parcels in total that you have in your various TIF areas. And that is your presentation. Any questions?
So,
Go ahead.
so this, you just will, I guess, email this to all the different outlets as far as how they get their hands on this thing? Or do you mail it physically? What do you do to the various?
I don't know what you've done here in the past. I will tell you at the Dearborn County Redevelopment Commission, we'll provide it to anybody who requests it, but we don't typically send out a copy.
All right. I'll share it with Jake then, okay.
And
Your
Bill,
annual report, which we included elements of in this presentation, that is posted on the Indiana Gateway website, which
okay.
is, and they're public TIF viewers, so if anybody wants to see the
Yep.
annual report that you had produced earlier this year by London Witty, that is publicly available at any time for anybody who gets on that.
Okay, thanks.
Bill, to my knowledge, I do not believe previously Al or Angie ever shared it outside of the presentation at this meeting that I remember.
Okay.
I do not think we need a motion to approve that. I think that is just a presentation. Any further questions?
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, appreciate that. That's very professional. It's very nice.
Yeah, it was easy for me to follow through, I just didn't know what areas were which areas, so,
Yeah,
but,
that's a good suggestion. If there's a map, I need to get a digital copy of that, and we'll use that in next year's report.
It's full size,
Did you remember those?
it's,
We had,
I've seen them back there.
we have
That
Angie, we
screen.
had Angie actually make us all big one. Mine hangs down in the basement. Okay, moving on. If there are any other, comments on that? Okay, hearing none, moving on. I entertain a motion or change to anything on the approval of minutes for the regular meeting for June 17th. Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion from Bill. We have a second?
I will second as presented.
Chris is second. First and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Thank you. Okay, on the financials, I had to send a second one, my apologies. Becky sent me a second one, and then she also gave everybody oh, I know why. So the sheet that she gave you that is physically in your packet in front of you, she just said that she wanted to show how much the interest that we're getting on these. And it did not show on that. I don't think she's posted it to the account. You got it there, Mark?
Yep.
Okay. But it is, again, it's impressive. We put this money away and, it's drawing some nice interest on that.
So the first one matures in September, so we'll have to have her, next month, we'll have to have a discussion about, I guess we'll have to somehow officially request from her to get bids or something again, I guess.
Well, we could do it in the September meeting since.
Oh, it matures September 30th, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So, but either way, Bill, we will need to do that. Or see if she can designate a representative from this board to go out. Because, Bill, I believe you did that before.
I did not. I found out that only she could do that requesting.
Oh, okay.
She and I chatted about them.
You're right.
but She's the only one who could do that.
Yeah, yeah. So again, the financial report, she does have the beautification balance in there. We have the TIF balance, and then she could not run the riverboat account the same way, but she does have almost like a checking account register of the riverboat account for us to review on that too.
So is that the one with the Bach Financial on it? The Lawrenceburg, Bach Financial,
Let me see, Bill.
okay, I don't have that one, I guess. I'm trying to figure out where the riverboat is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the claims, right? That's the claims summary.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know where that is. That's what I'm looking for. Goes back to
You
the
know
original.
what, Bill? She did not. She put,
Okay, I thought maybe I was missing something.
no.
Okay.
I just assumed, and I didn't look at it close enough, it's the second page has Fund 4445, and I think that's one of the TIF accounts. And so I think we did not get the register for the, let me make sure about this,
I don't see it anywhere.
nor do I.
It goes to the question that Mooch had earlier
Yeah,
about how much we had in,
I will get that to everybody.
how much we spent in Riverboat, so. So the beautification fund is where we have the money for the houses, right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Questions on the financial report? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report as presented with the note that I will reach out to Becky and see if I can get, I will get the Riverboat account emailed to you guys.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? So moved. Okay, the second part of, or second half of the financial, or the financials and claims are the claims. I think everything is in there pretty self-explanatory. And one thing, so part of the beautification fund, we had spoke, and there was agreement that we would purchase LCD, a soft wash machine, the same as our machine that Greendale has. So what they did is they went out, they had Greendale come down and they spent like a half a day and they cleaned some of the LCD facilities, and LCD was extremely happy with how everything looked. And so they would love to have a machine. I told them they had to go get the pricing, and I did not see if this is exactly the same, but they told me it was, and I think the price is,
11,134.
yes, 11,134. So the way we'll handle this, if approved by the board, is that we will cut a check to LCD for 11,134 from the beautification account, and then LCD will purchase that. And that way, if theirs breaks down or ours breaks down, if the agreement has been, and it's just a verbal agreement, we would share anything we'd need to do. So I think that's it with the claims.
Wasn't this approved prior to us buying that for them, or?
It was approved, but we wanted to get a hard
Okay.
price.
And yeah, it was approved up to, 12,000 or
Something like that. I don't, yeah.
It was approved up to a max.
For some reason, I feel like that's actually a better price than what we paid. I don't know why.
If they came back for another,
Yeah, they wanted more money for it.
Ours was 10 grand at first, and some kind of.
Oh, okay.
It was
Yeah.
under 10 because.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's
they
right.
came
Yeah.
back and
That's
wanted-
right. Yeah. But the attachments in the claims area, or the claims email, it appears that, I thought maybe they had already purchased it because they show a product.
They have not, Bill. I do know that. I spoke to the president of the LCD, Jim Kittle.
Says the
today.
quote's good for 30 days, and
Okay. Yep. All right. I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Oh, second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Okay. Mike, I'll let you shoot down on some of the unfinished business. Or do you want me to run with it while you're taking?
I got it. So on Stellar, Mike, Anthony, and I met with Jody from the Southeast Indiana Regional Planning Commission to discuss next steps on putting the Redevelopment Commission's Stellar funds to use. Yesterday was the deadline for planning engineering firms to submit their responses to the city's request for qualifications. for those planning and engineering services for the South Ridge Avenue streetscaping project. And there'll be a committee which will look at those proposals received from those firms, including members of the Board of Works, to evaluate and help identify finalist firms and interview those, and then make a recommendation to council for selection of those engineering services for council's August meeting. Then scoping of the project will be done with the project committee and members of the Board of Works. So that's the latest on Stellar, unless there's any questions on that.
That's something I just want to kind of clarify what Mike said is when we were speaking, we started talking about, who's in charge of Stellar now that Austin Draper had left and he was kind of managing it for the city.
Yeah.
And we're thinking, okay, is that Mike? Is it, is it this? And we just talked and we thought the good decision, who to put in charge of this, since it's streetscaping, it's utilities and everything, is just let the Board of Works run with that. There's more expertise there than anywhere as far as that, so, and they accepted to do that.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was kind of the assumption all along, but just with the Austin moving on, there've been a month or two. So I went to Board of Works last week and just, gave them an update on where things are and made sure everybody's clear on who's going to own and run that project. The US 50 train bridge, yeah, there is no update there. I have sent, since our last meeting, an email to Genesee and Wyoming Railroad Company inquiring about that application we put forth for the land lease requested for that train bridge, but crickets so far.
Since that funding has dissipated, are we still going to do this project if we get the permission from the railroad?
I think we were hoping from what Mike said that, maybe next year that grant would come back into.
I've asked a question for the Indiana Destination Development Corporation about if that program is going to be back, and they don't have an answer yet. So
I think what we'd have to do is we just have to wait until next year and see, number one, the train, make sure they're okay with everything, and then see if there's any funding, and if there is, we'll have to make a decision. If there's not, we'll have to make a decision. I think it'd be pretty impressive, but it's a lot of money, so. Kind of jumping in on Anthony's, is everybody, I don't know if everybody's driven down Lower Ridge. The asbestos removal group is there working in their suits.
They were in their little white suits yesterday.
Yeah, getting in the hottest part of the summer so far. But we do know July 21st is when the demolition company will be there to start demoing that, so. We have nothing, no update on the GLP potential road at this point. On KPG Greendale, last night, and Mooch, you can speak to this, the Planning Commission approved.
Basically the form and color.
Yeah.
What did they approve? I'm sorry.
Form and color.
Form and color.
Landscape.
The next big thing is they'll have to do the bonding. They'll have to go through the bonding process for their own sake.
yeah,
Am I
so
terming that
all
right?
the approvals here have been done for the bonding. It's just a matter of closing on it. So I think that's accurate. Anthony could confirm, but part of what they need to be able to close on the bond is to cinch up the Ready 2 funding that's been allocated for the project, and Southeast Indiana Ready Inc., our regional group with the Ready funding, is still working on a forgivable loan agreement for those grant funds with Kendall Property Group and working through what that agreement will look like. So that's kind of the next thing on their list to tackle, and then they'll be able to go to bond council and say they've got the other funding all tied tied up, and they'll be able to close on the bond.
Mike has been speaking to Austin,
Austin Carmody, yeah.
who is with with KPG, and they're excited. We feel from some of the incentives they have and everything from what Mike's told me is that they almost have to break ground before November.
Yeah, they have to, so for one of the other pieces of their funding stack for this $35 or so million project is the Indiana Economic Development Corporation redevelopment tax credits. In order for them to claim those, they need to put a shovel in the ground by the end of October. So,
Everything that they've applied for, Mike, or what they were planning on, did not get cut out as far as the budget for this coming year? Okay,
yeah,
good.
it all looks good right now.
Okay, any questions on any of those? EDA compliance, no update right now. We do have one business that still owes some money for 2024. I have reached out to them a handful of times. I've been told that they have some other big things going on with them. I don't, and not in a negative way. So, but it's been crickets, so I'll continue to push that. On the soft wash program, so right now we have a total of 28. And when Fish sent me their spreadsheet, and I'll share it with anybody if you guys want that. It's kind of busy, but it's just a spreadsheet. From what I could gather, it looks like they have 15 to 20 other properties scheduled. I believe there's 152 properties that are eligible for it. So I think they're getting to them. We've actually had quite a few from the invoices, quite a few on Lower Ridge and in the on Kansas Street. I think everybody probably saw the one that was one of the most evident was the Blue House. So, it looked quite good on that. So we do have the funds are sitting there, and we're fine on that. And Mike and Anthony and I just spoke a little bit. What do we do? I don't know how many they can do, but I don't foresee them getting all the houses completed. But I don't think all the house residents have asked for it.
Why would you not?
I don't know.
We have them scheduled till what, the end of September or the end of October?
I
In that
think
agreement- In the agreement we had with them.
I think the residents have to schedule by the end of September, Bill.
Okay. I was trying to remember
I
what it
think
was,
that's the
September.
way, and I might not be exact in that
months,
wording.
Almost 3 months, probably.
I had mentioned maybe do we do another mailing? I don't know. I need to talk to,
Are they still going door to door?
they told me, I have not talked to them this month. I'll give them a call. I'll find out on that. There was a nice article in the paper about it, so that was, any questions on it?
No, I think, again, I hadn't seen very many in my drive-throughs, but the Blue House definitely jumps out, the fact that now it is clean. you
Yeah.
know. It's amazing how that product works. Hopefully, it lasts now. We'll see how long it lasts, but that's amazing.
Okay, then moving on to new business. In your packet, you received from Bear Becker. They have finally come back with what they feel are the parcel A and parcel B to break out from the city, and the city is okay providing this to redevelopment. And so you have a resolution, be 2025-14, I believe, that where we would accept these two parcels. Parcel A is 2.1 acres, give or take. Parcel B is 2.0 acres, give or take. So, well, any questions on this part so far? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2025-14.
Dash 14, is
Yep,
that correct?
yes. There is no part of the lake or pond that is in this resolution.
I'll make that a motion to approve resolution 2025-14.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I will
Second.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions?
I don't see any reference to any funding. There is no, we're just transferring property, no dollars between city and redevelopment.
Correct. Any further questions? Having a first and second, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. With this, and this is coming down for your signatures. With this, I asked Anthony, okay, what are our next steps? And, you know, it's, again, a municipality world, it's just never simple, but he'll have to create the deed, and that'll take some time to get this legally transferred to redevelopment. Once we do that, we will have to, the big decision we're going to have to make, because we have had comments made by some residents that they'd like to purchase the properties. We initially
And not build on.
and not build on it, yeah. We intentionally started this process because we found out from the boring company, I think it's Atlas, that these lots could absolutely be built on. It might take some peering or whatever, but they could be built on. We need housing, and if we were able to have control of this property, which we will have once the resolution's all legally submitted, we could offer these lots in a way, shape, or form that we decide to a builder or a set of builders to build homes. And perhaps, you know, we'll sell the lots and, you know, we'll put out the covenants and restrictions. And we could get, if these were 100-foot lots, which is what the lots are across the street from them, I think we could get 12 lots, 12 homes there. You don't think so, Bill?
No, I think your frontage, you can't pull that up onto the screen, can you, while that thing's running,
I
Mike,
can.
or not?
No, I should be able to.
I thought 10 was about max.
Let me see his email.
I think when you look at the drawings from Bear Becker, I think it's showing 396 or something, 400 feet roughly of street frontage in parcel A. And then the other one is, I think, a little bit bigger than that with the street frontage.
595, I think.
Yeah, one's like 400 and one's 500 or something like
One,
that.
398 and one's almost 6.
Yeah. So to me, if you do 100, you're only going to get 8 or 9 properties there.
Bill, this is from Mark Rosenberg, because I asked him if he had read the Atlas report, and he said not in depth at all, not to be able to make any, you know, he said his recommendation would bring Atlas back in and maybe talk to us. But he said, also with the current split shown Both could have 6 lots per parcel equaling 12 total. Lots could be 100 feet wide with approximately 15,000 square feet. A house could be 50 wide by 50 deep, plus a side entry garage. So that just, Bill, I just went from his stuff, so.
Yeah. Unless I'm reading this thing wrong, it's 400 feet on the frontage, isn't it, on one of them?
On parcel A, yeah.
Yeah,
Four and
so,
six.
I mean, if we do 100-foot wide, like the people are talking about that are across the street, which I don't know if they're 100 feet wide looking at that, but if that's the case, you're only gonna get 4 on each one of those things, 4, maybe 5 on the other one, but this one's actually, the parcel B is real short where that little road is, so you're still only gonna get 4 there possibly.
Yeah, and, and
I think you're gonna get 8, that's
if
about all.
if we could get that many, I'd be thrilled. What we're gonna have to decide, I mean, the covenants and restrictions, and we can put all kinds of stuff in there, what we want in that, and, I think we should build nice homes that keep the same look of the neighborhood, of the street and that, which the people across the street have asked for. But the decision we will have to make is, if somebody steps up, and we'll get an appraisal for these lots as lots that can be built on, whatever dollar amount we find on that, do we want to sell these lots without them being built on ever?
Well,
but-
if we own these lots and we put them out for sale, we can't control who comes in and wants to buy them, can we?
Sure we can.
We can?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we could, because what we could say, Bill, is we could say,
There's like 2 of
Oh,
them.
you
Go
could
ahead.
say something like, okay, we have, let's say 8 lots for sale. Give them all the Atlas reports. Here's our list of requirements, what the homes will consist of: 2,000 square feet minimum, side entrance garage, some kind of hard material, whatever, and the houses will be built on these lots by a date we agree upon. And then they can purchase them from us.
So then, the homeowners across the street could not purchase them under that
Under
scenario?
that
Under that
scenario.
scenario.
So that's what we need to decide, what's the
But they'd
scenario
have to
we
build
want,
on it.
And we know they don't wanna do that, yeah, so, okay.
and we'd get some cash, but, with the builder, we're gonna get cash and future tax revenue, and everybody, if you've been around me at all for the last, 5 years, we need housing. We need single-family housing.
So you mentioned basically a deed restriction on size.
It's in the covenants and
It's in the
restrictions already. and
So it's
that-
already there, so it wouldn't be like, I don't remember what the sizes of the houses are there now, whether they're 1,000 foot or 5,000.
Mark, in this part of land, the Rupel Development never put covenants and restrictions in this.
Okay.
What are the covenant restrictions across from Mooch?
Street.
Across from Mooch?
I'd have to look, Bill, but I'm thinking it's 2,000 square feet.
That little
So it's
house?
not gonna be overdeveloped based upon what's there, or underdeveloped.
Please.
It's not gonna
What's
be
across the street,
overdeveloped or
so-
underdeveloped based upon existing houses.
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Now, again, if
Even
we
when they're
require
building the house.
2,000, somebody buys a builder builds a lot, and they get somebody wants to put in I was gonna say $500,000 house, but that's almost a standard anymore. But if somebody wants to put in $1 million house on that lot, we can't stop them there, but I don't think anybody would complain about that.
I think the problem, it's not gonna be a problem, it's gonna be a cost impact, is the stabilization and the piering that's gonna be required that's gonna rule out a lot.
Some of those lots.
Some of those lots.
Possibly, I will say, across the pond from these lots, across on Whispering Woods, Greg Gavin, and I haven't talked to him recently, I remember Greg Gavin saying a lot of those houses are piered.
Oh, okay.
The ones facing the pond?
Pond.
Yeah, with their
Not
back to the
Not the
pond.
ones in the hill
Yes,
side?
yes, yeah. So, how much it costs to pier a house for Bill, I have no idea. Costs are extremely expensive, but I would think they would bid that into their bid of the properties. Maybe if these lots go for they would normally go for 50,000, maybe we can sell them to 10,000 and let them get in, build a little bit less expensive, maybe we, what that peering would be. We can negotiate with builders.
So is the idea to do this as a package deal to ABC Building Company? Here's 6 lots, you tell us what you'll give for them and you'll build houses?
I think it's a pleasure of the board. I think that'd be easiest.
Yeah, let them take the,
Well, yeah, and, once they buy them, they have the Atlas report, they have everything. They go into it with eyes wide open.
Yeah, I think we'd have to give the Atlas report to them.
Oh, yeah.
For their, whatever companies decide, so they can figure out whether or not they want to do this and how much that's going to cost them, to the point that we were just discussing. So it's, I'm not sure we're going to come up with a price per lot without knowing, possibly from some builder, what that possibly could cost them to do.
Well, we would get an appraisal bill at that point. I think we can get an appraisal once we have the property and once we have some covenants and restrictions, size of lots, and we can have some discussion. But, the covenants and restrictions for across the street, I do have that. We can mimic that. We can make it a little bit stronger. We could do some different things. But yes, Bill, we'll have to go out, hire an appraiser, and say, what would these go for?
Yeah,
And
Mike?
I don't know.
Who's enforcing those covenants and restrictions right now?
No one.
No one.
Well, yes.
Well, unless Brad decides he
Now-
wants to have something to say, I guess.
Now, a little bit, that's something the builder would be in charge of enforcing this, but it's the same as, the Dree subdivision on Nowlan,
Beckett Landing.
Beckett Landing. They have all kinds of covenants, restrictions about no above-ground pools, no fences and that, and guess what?
Their fences.
There's fences or above-ground pools. And that's the city, the city allows above-ground pools, they allow fences. It's up to the developer, which isn't unusual.
Mike Perleberg, could you zero in on the lot that's across from where the road would be for the the access road between those 2 lots there, that little dirt path there? Just click on one of those across from there and see what the click on the report and see what the value that they've assigned to the land on one of them, will you?
lot 178.
198, 400,
98, you said?
198, 400.
198, and that's just for the land, or is that the whole property?
That's total. It's land and improvements.
Well, what's the land by itself? Does it say?
34,300.
34.
Well, we know that
So 50 would be.
Casey's property has been moving,
Mhm.
whether or not people think it's a great location, not,
Is it moving, or is it just because Miranda bought them all up?
Well,
They're
they
all
just,
sold now.
There's
Huh?
18.
There's no more. They're all sold.
they're all sold?
Verona bought the rest of them.
Oh, you bought them all, okay.
There's 18 complete and 4 currently under construction.
Yeah, so, but the one that is really pretty that sits on the pond that faces, he bought that lot for $90,000, 2 lots.
He owns 4-speed.
Huh?
He owns 4-speed.
He's the guy that owns a diner in 4-speed.
Oh, okay.
Steve
Oh, the one with the little golf
Good for
course,
him.
the pipe.
Caudill.
So I think we got some work to do. I don't know what the answer is on this.
Yeah. I'll have to get it right, because people are want to just buy them.
Yeah. I did the 2 people that we had a meeting with, the mayor, Mike and I, the 2, Eastep and Phil Meyer. We met with them. I did send them our agenda today and this, so, I'm not, we're gonna be honest with them. But I've also told them, very honestly, we need housing. This is a great opportunity for us. When was the last time in Greendale that we could build 8 homes in 2 years?
In the city.
Yeah, in the city.
Yeah, Aaron just looked up on where the Elisons are building across,
That's
that-
actually 2 lots,
Yeah.
there's 2 lots.
Yeah.
but the 2 of them together were 85.
They just paid 85 for 2 lots, so that's the 40-some thousand dollar range, so.
Yeah. And these will be side entrance, well, it's what we decide, but we could have side entrance garages. Yeah, but, okay, so any other questions on that? Just keep thinking about it and everything like that, so. I don't know if there is, I don't know. I don't know if there's a wrong answer, I don't know if there's a right answer. Would you guys like to have Atlas come back in since we have these two and kind of tell us,
How many
kinda
we're
give
gonna
us-
have?
Huh?
How many lots we're gonna have there?
No, I think that Bear Becker can help us with that, but Atlas, I remember them saying this parcel A, I remember them saying that was more, there was more fill there, that those would probably have to be some piered or something like that.
That's all in the report for whoever buys it.
It is.
It's up to
it
them
is,
to
yeah.
figure out
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, unless we have a builder here that we say, Atlas, here, answer this guy's questions, I don't know that we would do much with the Atlas or coming in again, other than the report they gave us
Okay.
already, so.
Okay. And do remember, whatever funds we make in excess of the cost we have, we promised council we would give it back to them. Because this is not a TIF area.
And it's not anticipated to be one, correct?
Make in
No.
excess
Okay.
of. So, our expenses so far are just Bear Becker. So if we sold all 8 lots for $40,000 apiece, we give them the difference of that, is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay. Because I don't know what other expenses we'll have some, I guess.
Well, Anthony's
Yeah,
expenses, Bill, I'm
the appraiser.
assuming.
Yeah, the appraiser,
Appraiser.
yeah, Anthony services.
Tile fee.
And probably
Yeah.
another,
Closing costs.
Shouldn't be
another-
much.
Yeah.
another Bear Becker probably at some point.
They'll have all kinds of people with fingers in the pie, but yeah. Okay, I don't want to drag this out, but, okay. I'm going to move on to our last item that right now is the beautification funding decision. I'm sorry for the long communication on this, but I wanted to make sure what I'm hoping to do is that we have the EDA we were paid $450,000 last year. 250 of that was put in the endowment and the other 200,000 in the spendable. We have already taken the 200,000 back, and that's why we have 196 in there. Now we're gonna have we'll have 9 years of $100,000 coming to us from the EDA. That money was already sent to the foundation. The foundation's like, where do we put it? And really, the donor should advise, but the donor's looking for us to tell them what we want done with it. What I would like to do is at least memorialize, to tell MGP, if we can do a vote, is that when they send these 100,000s to the foundation, that they will be designated as endowment. If we do that, we'll have over $1 million in that endowment. That does not include the TIF amount of the 240,000, and Aaron has a little chart right there too. MGP has promised to pay the 240 on top of the 100,000. We do not anticipate that warehouse being taxed, TIFed at anywhere close to 240. So what will happen is, number one, this year, they didn't get on the tax amount. So there's no taxes. So I will, once we have a decision here, I'm gonna reach out to the head of the local one, tell them that the 240 needs to be made to us as a pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes. So for 2025, they will have to do that. Again, we'll have to decide then what we do with that. But then going forward, so in 2026, if it's 240, and let's just make it simple math, the TIF is 140,000, then we'll ask them for a pilot payment of 100,000. And those pilot payments, we can decide what to do with. So, so I think we're gonna have some options. Obviously, we're gonna have some funds available, but, and again, the reason I want to memorialize it is a great opportunity for, in my opinion, and I'll go with whatever you guys vote, is to put $1 million endowment where those funds just for perpetuity will come back to the city to be used for beautification.
Is there gonna be guidelines around that to stipulate use?
Right now, there are markets, it's up to us. It's on, we have decided that we're gonna focus on that area. But that doesn't mean down the road it can be changed.
So, what you said had me a little confused, I thought, from what I had read.
About what?
The $100,000, you said they've already sent the $100,000 for this year?
They've already sent, so the
Okay,
foundation's.
and where did that go?
In the foundation's checking account, sitting there waiting for an answer.
For us to
Okay.
do something with
So it hasn't gone into either,
No.
okay. But from what you're saying, you want to put the $100,000 a year for 10 years into the endowment, not in the spendable account, is that correct?
My own personal opinion is, yes, I would like to do that.
All right, that's what I was just that's what I want to clarify.
Because we're gonna get excess from the 240 also.
Okay, but the $100,000 a year endowment, so the house program of beautification between now and then would be paid for out of the TIF money that we're gonna get?
Well, between now and then, we have enough funds right now to satisfy both sections.
But
For this time.
that's only
For
once.
for these
One time,
three,
yeah.
for 3 years,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So at the end of this year, we'll have another 240,000 that we can decide what we want to do with.
which is TIF money.
No, not this year's won't be, Bill. That's pilot. Because there was no tax
They were
on
on
it.
it, they missed the tax.
They didn't.
Okay. So that's the extra,
Yeah.
all right. So that 240 would go into the spendable account.
If we choose, wherever
The
you want.
beautification, along with the balance of whatever we will have there, which is 200,000 now, which we still want to spend some dollars. So in 3 years, let's say we'll have the 240 sitting there.
Mhm.
That would get us another 3 years in a sense, if it's still about that same price to
It
do.
would.
That's right. You're saying that there's enough there for us to be able to renew that
Yeah.
program for another 3 years without using the,
Endowment money, but it-
Now, the endowment's gonna start, they automatically will start spending money off to us for whatever will be there. So in 3 years, there will be 450,000, 250 the first year, and then if we do 100,000 this year, 100,000 next year, there'd be 450,000 of endowment funds that will be coming back to the redevelopment.
No. Only, the 450 won't come back to us.
No,
The gain off of that will come
I'm
back to us.
sorry, Bill, yes, yeah.
Which is not necessarily gonna be a very big number, is what my concern about this original.
3 to
240 is.
5% of that is
Yeah,
usually
I
what they
mean,
do.
For $450,000, 3% is $12,000, $13,000? That's not gonna get us a lot of houses.
No,
That's my concern about building this thing up, and how we're gonna build it up.
well,
so.
but we're gonna get the excess of the 240 too. And I guess, Bill, I don't know what that is, to your point.
Yeah.
So next year, we would have a much better idea of what the future of that warehouse will be taxed at.
so is the ask on this to indicate what we'll do with that $100,000 for the next 10, or just this one year? Do we need to go through this?
Pleasure of the board. But I would ask that we would vote for the 100,000. And again, the board next year could vote to change that. There's no reason they couldn't. I just to try to build up the endowment, but it's a pleasure of the board. If you think it's too soon to make that decision, we can make the decision
Well, I
on
think
the
there's
100,000.
There's a little bit of security right now because the utilization of the cleaning program is at the lowest point. It's going to improve, as I presume, this is an assumption. When area residents, see an improvement and that sort of thing, the opportunity is there for the utilization to bump up. But we're covering, we've set enough aside in this for 100% participation, right?
Correct,
For this first time.
for the first 3 years.
For the first 3 years.
And guys, if you'd rather just wait, let's just say, let's just do the 100,000 into the endowment. If we put funds into a spendable account, at any point, we can take those funds and move them into the endowment.
I feel like we should, my thought is that we move the 100,000 to the endowment account.
Yeah.
But we also have the opportunity in a year to,
Change the course.
Yeah.
there'll be another 100,000.
There will be, yeah.
That will be available. And if there's high utilization and changes in costs or whatever, that money is needed, that we could do that on a year-by-year basis, with the intent that, if well managed, all 10 years of it could go into the endowment. Did I have that right?
I think, yeah.
I think that's not a bad.
Yeah, I would agree with what you just said. I'm wondering in my head whether or not we can stipulate that the 100,000 goes that way unless that a particular year we need it to do something else.
Right.
So that way at least there's a plan, like Mike said, if next year the board's different, the
When this-
plan was we put this there unless, hey, we're in a hole, we need to save that from going in the endowment.
Yeah, I think when this comes up, we have to have an asterisk note and not
Yeah.
just the memory of, oh
Right.
yeah, remember we talked about this?
Yeah, right.
And a little bit, I'm trying to protect these funds, because that's what MGP wanted.
Right, and
I'm
that's
trying to
what-
protect them that when we're all,
We're not here.
some of you
Yeah.
guys will
They're
still
not
be
fine.
here, and all of a sudden, they can change to beautification wow, we need to build a new building.
I think this is what we all wanted when we sat down with this whole thing at the beginning.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
agree
And
with
so
that.
I was always trying to get it
Yeah.
in the foundation, but it is early, so doing it this year makes a lot of sense, just this year. There's no wrong way to doing it.
Next year won't be an issue either, but.
Yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen 2 years from now with an opportunity for one of the Main Street projects to.
Until you know what the
kick off
taxing,
on Ridge
what the
and-
TIF is, you really don't know what that number's gonna be.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it could come in at 200.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were
Or 50,
told
80.
by
Yeah.
some of the people who were intimately involved in that some of their warehouses are being taxed at 60 to 80,000 a year.
I'm sure we'll be on top of it here.
Yeah, we'll know. And I was thinking too, so two things is another decision we're gonna have to make. Let's stay on this. So is everybody okay with just doing the 100,000 this year to the endowment and then bring it up again next year?
Are you gonna memorialize this in some way, to Chris's point about a note?
Not if we just do the 100,000 this year, because there's nothing to memorialize. Unless, Bill, we can ask Anthony to draw up some kind of, I'm looking at Mike, is there like an
Like
ordinance?
a tickler,
Okay.
tickler for every July meeting to.
Well,
Come back to
not
this.
even, we'd have to do it before July, because the funds went into, nobody knew MGP, they ACH'd it to the foundation in June. So we'd have to be doing it probably in the May.
I was
But
gonna say, I think in
Just
May,
need to
when
bring
real
that up.
estate taxes get paid, we probably wanna do
Yeah.
it, that's our.
But I'm
kicker to
saying,
say
we
need
could
May
try to
something.
memorialize
something like
something what we want it done for.
Yeah.
I don't know how much.
I would
that
like to memorialize it with the simple thing, to Chris's point of, the $100,000 goes into, the endowment on the annual basis, with the exception of if this pot is, if we need money from it, only on an exception basis, as opposed to, and start that out right now, so we don't have to worry about that, in the
Setting up
future.
as a reminder in March or April.
Let me
So
have
that
Anthony,
decision you
Okay.
have time to make that decision
well,
before.
I guess, so is everybody okay with me talking to MGP and asking them for this year to have them designate that goes into the endowment?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll talk also to them about the 240, and then I'll see if if Anthony can memorialize something that we could vote on in the future.
It's a commission, it's a, I don't know, a board recommendation or something along
Yeah.
those lines that
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we need a vote on that. You know what, let's be safe. So I guess what I'm asking is the board okay with asking MGP to put the $100,000 for 2025 into the endowment account?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
You're putting it into the spendable account.
No, endowment.
Endowment account.
Okay, sorry.
So two things, and again, I'm sorry, but
Who made the motion?
I did.
Apologize.
Bill and Aaron was second. I don't think we're gonna get through everybody, because we said, okay, we'll do it every 3 years. Anthony and I had a discussion, because Anthony said, well, we're finished this year. I said, well, wonder if somebody in the zone A and B didn't do it this year, can they do it next year? I mean, are we giving them 3 years to get their house cleaned, or is this year it, then we open it up again in 3 years?
We'll have to go back to the drawing board on that.
Okay, just chew on it, we have
Yeah.
time.
All right.
Aaron, you were gonna,
My only concern about that is the administration. Because
It's not-
then you got, it's just like this rolling group of people, and
Right.
it
Yeah,
becomes
it's
a
not-
lot of tracking for someone.
it's not bad, because I'm tracking it right now I'm using the Excel spreadsheet. Well, I converted their, whatever document they're using to an Excel. And you can know by the dates when it was done and who's not done. Again, somebody who is much better at Excel than I could really they can make it even cleaner. I don't think it's gonna be that hard, but it's the pleasure of what you guys wanna do. I never even thought of that.
We just have a list of all the addresses and you have date cleaned.
In that, he has those in address by street.
But, so then someone, I guess my concern is not that. That part's easy, because
Okay.
Excel can do that. When Fish comes here and says, hey, I did 10 houses, someone's got to make sure the houses they did. Like what if the Fish just is like, hey, they randomly hit up their own house,
That'd be on their cost.
if we notice it?
Well, I'll notice it because every invoice they have a receipt, when you saw it on the claims, where the owner signs off on, and they give us before and after. So if they came right now and I already have that house noted on the spreadsheet that it was already done. So that would be on them. And we would have to clarify that. We'd have to decide too, are we rebidding it out next year?
Well, I was just thinking, we have to rebid it. I can't believe Fish was holding that price forever.
No, you're right, yeah.
So we have to rebid it, and to Aaron's point, in that rebidding process, we would say to them, it's your liability to make sure you have,
Yeah.
the houses have not been done before.
I would agree.
So for round numbers, if there are 150 houses
Yeah.
in the A and B zone, and 50 get it done this year.
Yeah.
Anyone who calls up asking to do it the program would run 3 years from now, right?
In 3 years.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, that's the way
Yeah.
it's not presented.
So it's
that
25.
You can do it this year,
26,
or you can
so
wait
they
till next.
they'd have
There
to wait
was
till 28.
Right, so there was no, because you can do it on your own, it's just the Greendale program is going to right now is going to renew, there'll be some renewal renewal process, and the next opportunity for that would be 28.
We knew weird questions like this were gonna happen.
So then realistically, at the rate we're going, there's probably gonna be less than a third. So that $196,000 is gonna have a substantial balance
Mm-hmm.
for
Years.
future.
And we put it out, part of me is like, I wouldn't mind letting them do the rolling over 3 years, because we have the funds. But
And we want it to get done.
we do, that, you know,
Okay.
Yes.
but but again, I do the pleasure board, I don't, again, this is.
It's great to be
kind
able
of-
to say, this program was this year. And to be able to then come back and say, backed by popular demand, the 2027 program has been launched. And let that be a win rather than committing because of short usage and that sort of thing.
I don't know that Fish could have gotten all 150 houses done in the 4 or 6 months, whatever time frame they gave us.
Bill, I don't disagree with you.
I see him out. I saw him yesterday.
The other thing, I was rattling around my head with this, and this will be the last thing I promise. You know, Fish is mentioned numerous times because of the age of the house, how long this product's been, the
Fungus, whatever.
fungus has been on there. People just not taking care of their own houses. You know, we could put some funds, I don't want to manage it ourselves, but we could do some funds in that zone A and B and give the funds to Main Street with saying, like a paint your house. You know, and, but, we could.
Kind of what
set-
they're doing now, really, isn't it?
Yeah, they have a curb appeal grant, matches up to $500.
But we could match
Yeah.
much strong,
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you tell them, if you do, $5,000 to paint, but the person has to match 50% of that at least. Again, I don't know, I'm just, and again, I said this till I'm blue in the face. That yellow house down there just drives me nuts with the piano in front of it, because that is a gorgeous house. But I don't think it's been soft wash yet, but I have a feeling it's not gonna do much impact on it. So just food for thought. Okay, anybody have anything else?
I do have one thing.
Did we finalize the memorializing the $100,000 with Anthony thing?
I will ask him to
Okay.
put something in writing and send it to us to chew on to,
Okay.
because Bill, you and Chris have some great ideas of what you've said on that.
I put a tickler on my calendar for April of every year to
Okay, thank you.
make sure this gets brought up each
Okay,
spring.
you had,
Oh, yeah. So this is a late arrival request from Main Street. Tri-State Trails, you recall, did the Greendale Trails Master Plan for Greendale Redevelopment Commission in 2023. Tri-State Trails does offer membership at 3 different levels, $250, $500, and $1,500 per year. Main Street would like to ask if Greendale Redevelopment Commission is interested in sharing just a general membership for the city of Greendale, Trailblazer membership, which is $1,500 per year. That membership would include a logo and link on the Tri-State Trails website, Tri-State Trails GIS data, trail monitoring program historic data, strategy consulting sessions up to 2 hours is the base. Stay tuned on that. The consulting was the main thing that Main Street was interested in, and redevelopment may as well. There's also trail usage data from permanent counting sites, including the Dearborn Trail. And then there's a choice of an add-on option as a Trailblazer sponsor at $1,500 a year. One of the add-ons is 6 additional hours of strategy consulting time with Tri-State Trails, so it'd be 8 hours a year for the city generally, whether it's redevelopment, Main Street. In my opinion, these consulting hours should be used in partnership. I think Trails Initiatives would be a partnership generally across organizations in the city. So that's the ask.
What's the addition, like, what's the add-on?
The add-on is included
Okay.
with the Trailblazer membership, so you would get
1,500.
8 hours of consulting. The other two options for the add-on are trail usage data collection services, where they essentially set up a 7-day snapshot on one of your trails, like they got a machine that just counts people that go by. And so it would give you some data on how much your trails are being used. That's one option for the add-on. Option 2 for the add-on is a trail feature on tristatetrails.org, their website, basically just kind of highlighting your trail and marketing your trail. And the third add-on was the 6 additional hours of the consulting time.
I'll make the motion, we pay the $1,500 membership out of Riverboat.
Main Street was willing to pay $750.
Pay it all.
You'll be paid all? Okay.
Something I talked to Ryan, because under Mayor Weiss kind of designated redevelopment as the trail. One of the problems with trails is that administrations change and they just drop on. I'm a big trail proponent, but they're very expensive. And that's why I asked Ryan, I said, well, I'm okay. I know he's talking about the trails with Stellar, which is important. You know, for me, it's like we talked about extending the Tiger Trail down the base of the hill. We talked about trying to get a trail out to get over to where the hospital will be. So I'm all for it, and I'm great paying us paying the whole thing. Because it feels like Ryan and Mike are really stepping up and doing it, and I think they, help more than just Main Street. So we take, the only thing I would ask is take that out of Riverboat, or is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Okay.
So that a motion?
Yes, sir.
I would second that.
We have a first and second. Any other discussion?
I would like to know where our trails are currently. What are we
Tiger
spending?
Trail, the new one on the levee. There's one that's been put around the soccer fields here recently. The Loop Trail at Schneebelt.
Schneebelt.
So all those little paths, circles,
Then-
they're all part of this whole trail thing,
Trailway.
but not really interconnecting at this point. They're
Right.
just there.
Yeah, Main Street's idea is to try and get some more connectivity.
Okay, that's where I was going with my question is, the $1,500 gets us, you said, I think, 6 or 8 hours of consulting. Is that what they would help us with?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to get them connected, things of that nature?
Yeah, essentially strategizing. They can maybe help map some things out, and they don't really offer any specifics around. Tri-State Trail staff will advise on trail planning, land acquisition, grant funding strategy, and more to take your project to the next stage of development.
Which is basically what we would need if we want to try to extend them and connect them and all that. Okay, all right, thanks.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. And I will say that, well, the state of Indiana cut the trail funding for this year or next year, whenever the budget, to 0. So, but that's okay. All right, any other business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You never asked
Okay.
audience comments.
Look at the comment on the post from Steve.
We, in all fairness, we.